So, welcome back to a Canuck and a Finn. Really quick before I introduce my guests, or they'll introduce themselves. We had a rough game yesterday. Saipa's out of the playoffs, but you know what? We're not going to talk about hockey today. We're going to talk about professional wrestling. So, guys, introduce yourselves and where you're from.
Yeah, I'm Dylan the Broda. I'm from Toronto, Ontario.
That's right.
Yeah. The good old Toronto.
Really, how do we know each other? But we don't know each other. This is the craziest part.
Yeah, well, I met Bob at this bar here, the good old
O'Leary's Forum. Yeah.
And after a nice wrestling match, and he was my waiter, and we found out that we actually went to the same school in Toronto at the exact same time, like 2 grades apart. We have the same teachers and all that kind of
We know
jazz.
the same people, but we don't know each other.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
The weirdest thing you could possibly think, you move to Finland and you sit down in a pub and there's your school mate that you never knew you had.
Yeah.
But now we're best buds that haven't talked too much yet.
But I had to give you a hug. I was just so blown away by the story.
It was totally weird. But yeah, that's me, and I co-host with this handsome young gentleman over here.
Not so young.
Don't fool us.
No, but handsome, yes.
Shootin' the Shizat podcast that can be found on Spotify.
You want to repeat that?
Shootin' the Shizat. I think we had a couch fart.
Yeah, we had
here.
a couch fart. Yeah.
Couch fart. Yeah. No, guys, that was just me farting.
Yeah. Don't blame it on the couch. We have Shootin' the Shizat podcast. It's mostly about professional wrestling all around the world. We focus on indies, Japanese, American, and European, and we do a lot of call interviews with some big-time European stars and some up-and-coming stars and all that kind of stuff. It's mostly focused around wrestling, but other things leak in there every now and again. But then on to the father of professional wrestling in Finland. Here he is.
Yeah, my name is Michael Maggiolotti. I was born in Timmins, Ontario, Canada, back in 1973. My parents are Finnish immigrants, and my father's a minister, so pastored many small immigrant churches in Canada during his tenure and also in the U.S. And I moved here in '96 to Finland, and I fathered the professional wrestling scene in 2003, and I've been in the pro wrestling business now for 25 years. So there you go.
This episode is a Canuck, and a Canuck.
Yeah.
But that all live in Finland, so
there you go.
So there's some.
We're growing. Be
some
scared.
content.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, I guess
let's talk about what's happening this weekend.
Yeah,
some exciting things.
Friday, March 22nd, the biggest pro wrestling event in the whole Nordic countries ever is Slam Wrestling Finland's
Mega Launch.
That's right.
That's right. It's actually we're bringing together wrestlers from 10 different countries. So we're talking about the top wrestlers today out of 10 different countries, and both male and female, coming to Helsinki at the Circus downtown. Tickets, by the way, are still select seats or select places available. We have 3 different ticket categories. It's golden, which is ringside with catering, by the way.
That's my ticket.
Yep.
If I wasn't a referee on this show, this is my ticket, just by the way.
And then there's a silver, which is the upper balcony, which has some small condiments, and it's for the VIPs also, and for celebrities and whatnot. And it has its own bar. And then the regular tickets downstairs for €25 a pop.
And where was this happening at again?
The Circus.
The Circus here in Helsinki.
Right smack dab
Pretty
downtown.
much across the street.
It's across the street from where we are in
That's
O'Leary's Forum right now.
Yeah, but 7 big matches. Every match is dynamically different. We've got a big man versus small man match. We've got 2 behemoths like King Kong versus Godzilla. We got a girls.
They're huge. Though.
Yeah,
They're like huge. Like you don't even know huge until you see these guys.
Yeah, like when you've got like including the referee, the 2 guys and the referee in the ring, it's over 400 kilos. So there's a lot of weight, right? Yeah. Then you've got a girls triple threat match for the women's championship out of England.
But I think the bell works pretty well that we're doing a
totally.
wrestling podcast right now.
There you go.
Yeah, ring the bell.
Ring the bell, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I've got a big man versus small man, like I said. Yeah, then I've got a hardcore match. Anything goes. I've got a tag team match. I've got title matches on the card. I've got a good technical wrestling match and whatnot. So it's basically like it's a run through of the wide variety of what professional wrestling has to offer in a 18+ environment.
Yeah. It's going to be like, I'm super excited. I'm also a professional wrestling referee. And I mean, this is literally the biggest show that you can imagine outside of these major companies like WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling.
And
but
weren't you just talking to somebody in a pretty awesome podcast just not too long ago to promote this as well?
Well, yeah, because my old friend is Chris Jericho, and actually Jericho gave me my first pair of wrestling boots when I started my trek as a pro wrestler. Yeah. For my first match, he gave me his first pair of wrestling boots and said, keep them. And then he lent me a pair of his old wrestling tights, his Sudden Impact tights. That was his tag team with Lance Storm back in Canada when he started out. And anyway, so I'm on Jericho's Talk is Jericho podcast right now. It was posted this morning. It is the biggest professional wrestling podcast in the world, bigger than Stone Cold Steve Austin.
What about Sam Roberts?
Who the hell is Sam
I'm just
Roberts?
kidding.
it's even bigger than our podcast.
I hope
if
that,
you can
I
believe
hope
that.
that dummy Sam Roberts heard that somewhere. I
Well,
doubt it, but yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it's bigger than Stone Cold's podcast, bigger than Jim Ross's podcast. Talk is Jericho, statistically the #1 wrestling podcast in the world today, period. I'm on it. It's up now. Go take a look, listen, and enjoy.
Here's the thing. I think that even a lot of people, you think, okay, wrestling's fake, or there's this whole conception of, how wrestling, I don't know how much it's caught on in Finland yet, but I think that it's just got to be such good entertainment to go and do something different than going to the same old bars on a Friday night or going to see the movies and things like that. And you get to support us Canadians that have been living in Finland. Well, not me, but I'll be there to support that are living in Finland and adapting to your culture and loving it here. I don't know. Are you guys hockey fans at all?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with hockey in my family. My great uncle played on the Toronto Maple Leafs. His name is Walter Turk Broda in the 40s and won 5 Stanley Cups. Five-time Stanley Cup champion, 2-time Vezina Trophy holder. So my last name is all over hockey at the Hockey Hall of Fame and all that stuff. Of course, didn't give me anything, but
you're still in the entertainment and sports world.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But I mean, it's a super huge pride thing for my family. So I mean, I have to. If I don't, then I'm disowned. So. Yeah. But, pro wrestling for me, I really look at it as a sport, and I understand like this argument that it's fake, but I think that argument is very misplaced. It's coming at it from the wrong perspective. I think when people try to say that it is like a fake version of the UFC, they have to understand that, like, when did professional wrestling start?
Well, yeah.
Basically 100 years before UFC.
Well, let me put it this way. If it were not for pro wrestling, Japanese pro wrestling, and we're talking about the UWF in 1984, that's when Satoru Sayama, Akira Maeda, and some other guys broke off from New Japan Pro Wrestling and formed something called the UWF, the Universal Wrestling Federation. Now, were it not for that UWF and for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu out of Brazil, you would have no fucking UFC. So live with it. Your entire MMA ass owes its fucking existence to professional wrestling. Shut your mouth and know your role.
I think that's just a taste of what you're going to get on Friday night, so
That's right,
that's pretty exciting.
That's
it is
right.
this Friday, right?
That's
Yeah,
right,
it's Friday,
this Friday,
starting
yeah.
at 6:30. Yes, where can they get the tickets if they want?
Ticketmaster.fi, you just punch in Slam Wrestling Finland Mega Launch. And you get your tickets while you still can. You don't be a dumbass and miss out, because I mean, you can always. I mean, I know this is a hockey podcast and all that hoo-ha, and I respect the hockey.
Well,
game.
it's a sports podcast, but yeah,
Oh, there you
it's
go.
been but yes.
So the thing, I'm not a hockey aficionado. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know Wayne Gretzky because I lived in Calgary 2 times and whatnot. So I understand. I respect that and everything. But the thing is that you can go to a hockey game anytime you want. It's like hockey. It's already a staple, even here in Finland. It's here. You've seen it, done it, been there a million times, right? You can go to Formula One. It's been there, seen it, done it, bought the T-shirt a million times. But what you haven't seen a million times is world-class professional wrestling here in the Nordics, and let's say just in Europe in general. When you bring together the best of the best from 10 different countries, it's not fucking Mickey Mouse, man.
No.
It's not small fry. It's not small game. We're talking about the king of the hill, the top of the heap. We're talking about the best of the best. Mano y mano. So get your ass in gear. Get those tickets from Ticketmaster, or don't be a straub.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, we should keep it short and simple, but I think that you got everything you needed there. You have any? What do you have? You had a podcast that you were talking about.
Yeah,
maybe?
well, we do Shooting the Shiz At. It's a pro wrestling focused podcast. Like I said, you can find it. Yeah, Spotify, iTunes. Our parent company is this Podbean, and we're it's relatively new. We basically just started the tail end of 2018, and it's underway. And we got listeners such as Chris Jericho and the likes. So we're doing it, and it's mostly just to flex that muscle, and we talk enough to ourselves.
And also, I mean, mentioning Chris Jericho, because we're name dropping here, the thing is that if Chris Jericho vouches for Slam Wrestling Finland Mega Launch, and he has, if you go to YouTube and you punch in Slam Rest, like youtube.com/Slam Rest, WRES, altogether, or if you go to our Facebook page, Slam Wrestling Finland, you'll see Chris Jericho's his plug for Slam Wrestling Finland Mega Launch.
He filmed it.
Yeah, and he filmed it himself. And the thing is, he's smart to the business. He knows quality pro wrestling. So the thing is, if Chris Jericho, one of the most popular wrestlers in the entire world, is already hip with Slam Wrestling, so should you.
Yeah.
Man, so should you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
All right. All the best
Thank
to
you.
you.
Yeah, hockey
All right.
hockey preview for the playoffs coming up soon, and of course, lots of other things. Yeah, we're really sad today about Saipa losing, but life goes on, and there's always next season. All right, thanks everybody, guys.
Oh, tough guy.